Good evening, students. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to add, subtract, factor, and multiply algebraic expressions. We will not complete all parts of the notes in this lesson, as we will do some in class when I see you the next time. So first, what is the difference between an algebraic expression and an equation? An expression does not have an equal sign, and an equation does. All right, some key vocabulary to help you write algebraic expressions. These will also come in handy in the upcoming lessons when we're writing 1- and 2-step equations. More than, sum, plus, increased by, and added to signify addition. Less than, subtracted from, difference, decreased by, and minus is subtraction. Only thing I want to note is with less than, just make sure you reverse it. 6 less than 10 would be 4. You have to reverse the order. Product of, multiplied by, times, and of represents multiplication. Quotient and divided by is division. Looking at these next three, I'm first going to say what they are, and then I will show you all of the answers written form. So number 1, 2 times m. That could be multiple things. That could be the product of 2 and a number, 2 times a number. And there are plenty of other options. Number 2 could be 1/2 times r squared, 1/2 times the square of r, or 1/2 times r to the power of 2. Number 3, you could have a squared minus 18 times a number, the difference of a squared and 18b. Once again, there are many other options. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide. You might want to pause it now if you need to continue writing those down. All right, now we're going to write an algebraic expression for each verbal expression. The sum of a number and 14. Sum signifies to add. When it says a number, we can choose any variable. So I'm just going to say x. So the sum of a number and 14, you can take it in order. X plus 14. 6 less, let's add in the word than right there. 6 less than a number t. Remember, we're going to switch them, 6 less than t. So here it tells us what variable to use. So I'm going to say t minus 6. 7 more than 11 times a number. Anytime it says less than or more than, we're just going to switch them. So 7 more than 11 times a number. So 11 times a number, I can pick any variable. In this case, let's just pick n. 11n plus 7. Number 4, 1 minus the quotient of r and 7. This, we're lucky, we just get to write it in order. Quotient of r and 7, so that just gets to go in order. So 1 minus, remember quotient is division, so r divided by 7. 2/5 of the square of a number j. Remember, of tells us multiplication. We're going to use the dot in this course, not the x symbol, since we have so many variables going on. So 2/5, going to rewrite that. That looks quite messy. All right, so 2/5 times j squared. I'm going to let you do the hot question on your own if you can, and we will go over it in class. All right, this problem up here at the top, we are also going to cover in class. So we're going to go straight on to what is the distributive property. In the distributive property, you're taking a number and you're multiplying it to everything inside the parentheses. So we are going to write, you use it to remove the parentheses when simplifying or solving a problem. You do this through multiplication. All right, so there is the words you need to write in that box. You might want to pause it if you have not completed writing it. I know it just came up. So go ahead and pause it, write it, and when you're ready, we're going to move on to how do I use the distributive property in each problem. All right, so like I said, you're going to multiply. So you're multiplying each term within the parentheses by the term in front. So I'm actually going to rewrite this problem a little below so I have space to show you. So this is 3 times the quantity 9a plus 3m. A lot of you might have heard this as the fisherman method in 6th grade. So if that jolts your memory, please use it. We're going to multiply 3 times the 9a, and then we're going to multiply 3 times the 3m. I do expect that you show your work. So we're going to write 3 times 9a, bring down your addition sign, plus 3 times 3m. 3 times 9 is 27, so 3 times 9a is 27a. We are multiplying here, therefore we can multiply terms that are not alike. You cannot add unlike terms. And then we have plus 3 times 3 is 9, therefore 3 times 3m is 9m. Looking at what we have right now, 27a plus 9m, these are unlike terms. We've got an a variable and an m variable. We cannot add them together. Therefore, this is our final answer. If you have questions, I recommend you write them down and bring them to me tomorrow. All right, number 2. In this problem, we are distributing the half. So half times 2x, and then half times 3y. Once again, we're going to show our work, so I'm going to say 0.5 times 2x. Bring down your subtraction sign. 0.5 times 3y. Half of 2, 1/2 times 2 is 1, so we're just going to write x. Remember, there's an understood 1 in front of it, so if you wanted to put the 1 there, you totally could, but you do not have to. That's why I'm putting it in red. And then we're bringing down our subtraction sign. Half of 3 is 1.5. 1.5, so half of 3y is 1.5y. These are not like terms. Therefore, this is my final answer. We will do number 3 in class tomorrow. All right, how do I simplify expressions? Now, looking at this number 1, essentially, this is just basically an addition problem. I am taking this first set of parentheses right here, and I'm adding it to this set of parentheses. Now, with that, technically I need to distribute a positive 1. When you multiply a positive times a positive, and a positive times a, think about it, this is a what? Is this a positive or a negative? This is a negative, good, because of that subtraction sign. Have I changed the signs multiplying it by a positive number? No. Therefore, there's nothing I really need to think about here other than combining like terms. So my first step, I'm just going to say 2x plus 1/2 plus Positive times 5x is still a positive 5x. Positive times a negative 3.5 is still a negative 3.5. We're going to represent that as a subtraction sign. Now, I'm going to combine like terms. 2x plus 5x, and then positive half minus 3.5. 2x plus 5x is 7x. Don't write any operations yet. A positive half minus 3.5. Remember, different signs we're going to subtract. So 3.5 minus a half, we're looking at 3. 3.5 has the greater absolute value, so this is a negative 3. All right, if you have any questions, go ahead and write it down, but 7x minus 3 is our final answer. And we are going to do this one in class. This one right now. Here, the difference in this one is a subtraction sign. This is a subtraction problem. When I multiply a negative times a positive, it becomes a what? A negative. When I multiply the negative times the positive, it becomes a negative. So in this, when I rewrite it, I need to make sure the signs here change. They change because of this subtraction sign right there. So this becomes negative 0.5x minus 4 minus 6.5x minus 1.1. If you have questions, write them down. Now, we are going to combine like terms. Negative 0.5x minus 6.5x. So this is taking me further into the negatives. That is negative a half minus 6.5 more is going to be negative 7x. And then negative 4 minus 1.1, once again taking me further into the negatives. And that is going to give me negative, so I'm going to write a subtraction sign, 5.1. And that is my final answer. If you have any questions, please write it down. All right, so remember, there's always an invisible one in front of the parentheses. If the one is negative, you must distribute. This is what we did in number 2. The real world problem we're going to look at in class next time I see you. Now, what is factoring? Remember, a factor is a number that is multiplied by another number to get to it. So, looking at 6, factors of 6 would be 3 and 2. When you factor, you're writing a number or expression as a product. So, I'm going to pause this and we're going to write that down. All right, make sure you have what is factoring down, along with the extra example I put, what is factoring. Factors of 6 are 3 and 2. So, how do I factor expressions? You look for a common factor that you can pull out of every term. All right, now let's look at number 1. 3x and 2. What can I divide out of 3x that I can also divide out of 2? Since only one has the x on it, we have to look at just the coefficient of 3x now. 3 and 2. Any common factors? No. So we're just going to write no common factors. All right. Number 2, looking at 12b and 24. What is our greatest common factor? I can divide 2 from 12 and 24. I can do 6, but we need our greatest common factor. Remember your G, C, F. Well, good. In this case, that is 12. It is 12. So we're going to label our GCF. Now, we're going to rewrite our expression, 12b plus 24. And here, we're going to divide out our GCF. So, I'm going to divide 12b by 12, and I'm going to divide 24 by 12. That 12 that I have divided both by is my new outside the parentheses problem. Then the answer to those two division problems I just created is going to go inside. 12b divided by 12. Well, 12 and 12 divided by 12 is 1, so this is just 1b, or you can just write b. Plus, you keep the same operation sign. 24 divided by 12 is 2. So that is your final answer. 12 times b plus 2. If you were to distribute, 12 times b is 12b plus 12 times 2 is 24. So that gets you back to your original problem, and therefore you are complete. Any questions, please write them down, and we will do number 3 in class tomorrow. Have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow.